because if you have a new type of data set, and if you have new types of tasks, it might be very difficult to anticipate what you actually need interactively in order to solve a specific task you haven't seen yet. Right. So therefore, it might be much easier to say, okay, you have the data set, you also have all the tasks, the queries, whatever, and then you can start to build your thing. Whereas, even if I give you a few examples, then you would need to anticipate the wealth, the possible universe of queries, which already for LLC is sometimes difficult when you come up with a new way of phrasing things. As, oh yeah, but this is only answerable because of this type of information I never considered. And even though it was always there, nobody ever looked at it because it was never used. So therefore, I would really emphasize the asynchronous part of this for new stuff. And if we want to do interactive things, then they should be reasonably close to things people are already familiar with, right? Because we see with VBS and LLC how high the barrier of entry already is. And if we then say, okay, we're now going to do something that is more complicated than this, or even at least more new, there's completely clean slate. And the people at this table will not have a lot of time to actually participate in this.
No,
because because everybody here is involved in actually building the back end of this, so there's not going to be participating
No, but I
teams
mean
that are
also
sitting
you're
here.
a TPC chair. You know,
Yeah, this too, but this is an independent problem. But even saying, look, everybody here is probably out of participating because of conflict of interest and because we might already know the ground truth because we have been there. So that already cuts out a whole swath of people who already have the experience with this.
So it has to be easy.
It has to have well, the task can be difficult to do, but it should not have it should not be difficult to attempt.
So how would you design the asynchronous part? It would still be interactive, and we would still give rules of time limit, or
I would essentially have tasks where we do not specify very closely how people solve them, and just do the classic. Look, here's a bunch of queries. Here's how we're going. Here's the format you're supposed to present your results in. Here's the metrics we're going to use. You have 3 months.
Yeah.
Go.
And you have a limit. Like, let's say you do an interactive task, you have a limit of 3 minutes per task.
Well, not even necessarily, right? Because you can DraftKit also did this. You can just say you have to specify how you did it, and then we say if you have a thing that is completely automated that does not require any human input, then it goes into one bucket. If you have a thing that was human machine collaboration, it goes into another bucket. And then you're supposed to report. Of course, we cannot precisely validate this, but you're supposed to report the time, the number of rounds, or whatever is applicable for your approach. Again, this needs to be somewhat broad because people might have very different approaches to do this. But ultimately, everybody just generates a rank ordered list of results, or whatever fits the actual
or the answer if we do question answer.
Yes, or a string or an integer value if it or something like this, and then we will evaluate this in a maybe fully automated. If we just have a ground truth we can compare it to, maybe a judged, and then we do all this pooling stuff.
You probably have to do a pooling because the data is going to be too big.
I mean, for some, I can think of some types of tasks. So, for example, if you, and this is something I alluded to yesterday. I'm already having sneakily repositioning stuff all around the house. So there are some things, and I'm not going to go into more details because otherwise I'm going to give away the task.
Was that cacao powder?
No, not the cacao powder.
And not the chocolate?
Also not the chocolate.
The banana?
But I mean, that might also be a type of where was the thing kind of task.
Yeah.
Because then there is we actively interacted with the thing. There's also some things you're probably not going to interact with, but that if you look back at the video, you will notice that it was there, but you probably haven't paid attention to it. And now everybody's looking at it.
Of course.
I'm extremely bad in that.
I'm
You can
gonna-
replace it now and I
Yes,
don't notice.
I'm going to tell you eventually. But essentially, okay, tell me all the locations where that thing was across the time, right?
Mhm.
And then it's somewhat automatable.
And you've got a record, right?
I have notes.
No, so that's enough. That's good enough.
That's very interesting for this virtual forensic stuff that Zeno and colleagues do. At the Netherlands Forensic Institute, they have this virtual forensic lab and so on. And I think this is kind of going a little bit also touching sister communities, I have to say.
I mean, the other thing is you have the receipts from shopping, so you know how much stuff we bought of good things.
Yes.
Oh,
that's also.
You should record them, yes.
That's also
I
interesting.
have a photocopy of them all, or a picture of them all.
Yeah.
Not quite, the
Okay.
very long one.
So
Yes.
miss the video camera.
And what the stuff you bought today
because
is not
then you
on-
have it as a
I
hidden
have it
country.
on the camera.
Yes.
If it's not on the
Yeah,
camera,
okay.
then you have
It
to
strikes me that that is a very nice hackathon task. The diet, generate your recipe book.
Yeah,
That's a simple hackathon
yeah,
task.
and I think this is what I meant
That
before,
might
like,
also be
there
a
is
challenge
work
for us,
of
though, because that can
That can be a
nurtured,
value,
right?
yeah.
We can
Yeah.
evaluate.
We have to, so we actually have to make our own recipe book again after
What,
this.
what I
with
what I would
details.
also like to do, what I think would be interesting more for the computer vision focused people, is if I brought the camera, right? And I'm gonna take some pictures later, and we can release some of those pictures, but not others, and then say, okay, what did the camera see? Reconstruct the image based on, you have a bunch of other cameras, you can reconstruct the scene, because at least much of the environment doesn't change all that much, so you can probably generate a very accurate 3D reconstruction of the environment. And I'm just gonna, you get a few training images to learn the properties of the camera, and it's okay, what was the focal length, what are the sensor properties, and then we have the images, and then I can even do a just pixel based, how accurate was the reconstruction.
I like that.
It's great.
I also brought a thermal camera that we can
Yeah,
take
you
some.
said that.
It's very low res, and it
Yeah.
only does pictures, but we can run around with this and take some pictures and see if that gives something interesting.
Can I just I'm thinking about another one that we did once, and it's funny. So you have Google Street View for most of the cities, but in Amsterdam many years ago they started thinking with the city. When I say city, Chief Technology Office and Data Lab, it's a bit risky, to use commercial products, because at some point they even change the terms of service, or they start charging insanely high, So Amsterdam has own panorama vehicles, like many cities. You capture them with moving cars, or even from the boats, there are cameras mounted there, and you kind of stitch them into omnidirectional panorama. So interesting, we used it for some things. Aside that you need to anonymize it properly and so on, but we used it for obvious stuff that our community would use in detecting objects in public space, monitoring state of assets, like in garbage, we even did that, and so on. But catch is, so now comes interesting thing. So in a big organization like a municipality of that size, you have 50 to 80 departments, and they have all product owners and so on, managers basically, and if they find it interesting enough, to incorporate this into their pipelines, then it can be expanded and so on, and it can actually save costs on many things. So the city organized once a hackathon. I was in a jury, and that was really interesting. So the first day come people from different kind of departments, and one is basically monitoring state of the advertisements in public space. It's kind of you have to pay a tax to put anything in a public space as an advertisement. Apparently, in many cities, people just hang something,
Right.
hoping nobody's going to see. And there are even strict regulations on, for example, light pollution. Like if you put a light symbol there, well, it may be preventing people from sleeping, and so on. So anyhow, the head of department came and he was really like, hey, look, there are these panoramas, but we have no idea what they can be used for, and we are totally willing to invest this much and this much, if we see kind of evidence that you can reliably detect automatically all the advertisements in public spaces. So there comes another person that says, oh, if you can show us this and this. So there were like 5-6 people that came, and for 2 days people were busy really, and actually they were even kind of sometimes describing it very vaguely, but they were like really, hey, there must be something that we are not seeing there, because otherwise we would be probably using it. If you find something useful in it, when it comes to advertisement and so on, please also let us know. So, but I'm going with this one. We have this data now, so for a hackathon, I think it would be handy to give some guidelines and give some ideas. Hey, look, invite some people from our community that have been working on food, like Tatsen, Cholvad, and so on and so on. They kind of say, hey, look, this is what community has been doing. Some people that were doing this could be in this direction. Doesn't have to be the same, and then give some other hints what people use it for. Recipes, there is this 1 million recipe, We attempted to cook Asian food in Ireland, but I'm quite sure it tasted great, but it's probably not the original ingredients. So what did we get? Close enough, yeah, but close enough, that's really great. What did you replace with what? So I think that kind of stuff, and then that's hackathon. And I think for Grand Challenge, at least I think we need to keep some interaction, because if you look what most of the people do, like in NeurIPSy, Cyclears, computer vision conferences and so on, it's mostly fully automatic stuff. And this is like sports event. It's fun. It's I think that's some kind of joy that we are bringing to the table of a conference, any conference.
Absolutely, but then again, interactive has a high barrier of entry, so it should not be exclusive.
Yeah, I think what's coming out from the conversation is there's an asynchronous task and there's a synchronous task.
Yeah.
The asynchronous task is going to be lower barrier to entry. Any student in any university that can get his hands on 20 terabytes per annum, 20 terabytes of disk space can process the data set, can process 24 queries or whatever we decide to do, send in results, prove relevant judgments, submission back, whatever, answers back, results back. And those that want to do the interactive element will come to the actual conference definitely, right? And they will take part in an interactive Grand Challenge, which is part of the conference. That's why they asked us to do it, right? They wanted the VBS and the LSE in
and they need more interaction.
Yeah.
Like we forgot that one. Like that was the thing. Multimodality, agents, interaction. That's like basically 3 points.
So if we take it back to the simplest thing, there's a ad hoc and there's a Q&A session. And then we need to synchronous challenge, which is ad hoc and Q&A, maybe something else thrown in there, people know well in advance. And that's the first year. And next year we use the same data set, do it again with a grander set of challenges for people. That does look at their recipe creation or whatever it is we decide we want to do. But we get it kicked off where we can show the success by having, what is success, 10 participants?
Yeah,
Success
I mean,
rates.
ideally this would then also grow over time, because there's a lot of data that, there's a lot of data augmentation that can be done. So ideally what I would like to see at some point, it should be very doable for a large fraction of time. So most of us are going to be visible by at least one camera most of the time. We have a trajectory that can be reconstructed just based on the sensor streams that should be on this. So you should not only be able to have the position of every person in time, you could also do the full pose reconstruction, have all the skeleton control points. So you essentially can back project the people into the space, how they were posing, and then do this for all the action-y things, interacty things. Even if people want to do robot-y things, right? You at least have a home return, how did people interact with that? But this is not necessarily very difficult from a technology, or at least from a science point of view, right? So methods to do this exist. It is just going to be work to actually do this.
But is that
so we will
CVPR
probably
Grand Challenge then?
Yeah, so we're not going to release this in February with a high fidelity annotated skeleton postings, because even if somebody wanted to do this, it would just take some time to
But
develop.
wouldn't it be something someone could do for the hackathon?
Yes, yes, something like this. I
Absolutely.
would totally put something
Bear in
like this
mind-
on the list.
The
Yeah.
hackathon
I mean-
focus was healthcare, so.
Yeah.
Yes, but even,
I mean,
even, I
we
mean,
can do two, right?
Post reconstruction is a number of healthcare applications. So it's-
Motion of for somebody, motion of the other person around the home,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is social interaction in healthcare.
We need to
mental
start knocking
health.
people over. That's right.
I don't
Sanity checking.
think you wanna go there.
Social interaction.
yes, no,
I mean, think of us, you know, like
But I guess for the,
Evaluate the average sanity over
for the,
time.
for the hackathon, I would even keep it more open and
Yes.
say,
Yeah.
this is the broad topic. These are some possible things we have come up with that
Yes.
we think would be interesting. You are supposed to, if you want to participate, sign up, propose a team,
Right.
propose a task, and probably we will just accept everything that is sensible,
We'd be happy to.
and as long as we have the capacity, and then our hackathon chairs are going to figure out all the rest, and possibly maybe we can get somebody to sponsor a best hackathon or something.
Sponsored by AC Multimedia.
I mean, one thing I was thinking was, for this tutorial on XR search, one insight was basically there's work on mixed reality search engines, like they do at Basel, but there is no way of evaluating them. So
That's
this
true.
could also be one thing. Like, I mean, I was thinking you have a lot of things happening in the kitchen. So you could be in a real kitchen where you have items that you could use as query objects.
Mhm.
So this could also be an exploration of like how would you set up a comparative interactive environment in which you test XR or MR search, right? Which is really something that's not there yet.
Totally.
Which is interesting enough because there's commercial interest in actually building such
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
and there's, I mean, it's very wild west these days. So there's
Yeah.
people trying all these sort of things. It's very niche at this point in time, but ubiquitous computing has been a buzzword for a while, and is coming
Yeah.
up every once in a while. So I would not be surprised if there would be more commercial interest within the next few years to really try and put products into people's
Yeah.
hands. I don't know to what degree these products are driven by needs, or to what degree this is driven by what can we currently actually make work.
Yeah, of course, it's also like always like having a new feature for every release of another generation of devices, of course, because it's just saying, okay, there's now a few 100,000 pixels more again. At some point, it's not the most
Yeah,
catchy argument. So you
we've
need-
run out of things you can
Yeah,
perceive,
yeah.
right? So,
Okay, so what's the next steps? Somebody writes down what we came up with, and we have a discussion again.
Everyone is document, everything is documented.
well, I mean, everything is, yes, everything is.
Another suggestion, maybe, just a small one, to spice it up. And I started thinking of spice it up, actually. Hey, there was this article, you know, like speaking of this pseudo-psychology, you know, like about organizational theories and so on. Have you seen
Well, you told me about this, yes.
You take a sheet of paper, you literally salt it, you smash it, throw it away, and it reduces your stress. It was very well known in some journals of dubious science. So this would yeah, actually unbelievable, but okay. So what I was thinking, you mentioned that I just read an article, I couldn't believe it. It's actually some very well known names that made. So putting a pepper on me maybe reduces my stress. But do the salt. Anyway, and for yourself.
Yeah.
So what I was aiming at, somebody mentioned that we are going to be familiar with the data set and a process. People around us also a little bit more, you know, like because you tell colleagues, friends, you know. For a hackathon, maybe it could could be a good idea to assign to each team that applies, and we ask people to apply beforehand, a shepherd, somebody who's this or that way involved. And we kind of also organize it as a competition, meaning that shepherd is going to be guiding the team. You see where I'm going, and helping them make the best out of what they want, not really telling them what to do, but kind of trying to squeeze. I see some fronts, probably not a good idea. I was
No,
thinking,
it's
let's say Werner takes team A from Tsinghua, and Kahal takes a team from
They like
Yes, but it's-
American Idol is
Yeah, no, this is
something like that. Yeah, why not?
No, it's an interesting approach. I like the idea. I'm a bit worried about its implementation because many people on this table are going to be very busy these days, especially during the time of that hackathon.
Yeah, we won't have any, actually half people here won't have any spare time during the hackathon. Actually, you won't either.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair,
Because it's going to
if-
be in a weekend, is it?
we should
I'll have to
ideally
figure
have
out
some
that, yeah.
time during the hackathon because if
Stupid
we
idea,
we
okay.
are busy running around and something went horribly wrong.
Well, in most cases, it's the general chairs that will be busy handing out whiskies and stuff. So you guys should actually have an enjoyable weekend, reality, so you'll have time to do stuff.
Well, I guess before the hackathon, the preparation phase, if you have
Yes.
light involvement, and yeah, I guess someone needs to be there anyway during the hackathon, so I think this shepherding idea could work. I'm not sure if you said putting it more like a competition, I don't think, I mean, there might be very different ideas, so you can't really
Yeah, so
compare
it's
them, so I.
more of a jury kind of
Jury,
thing.
yeah.
Which is okay, the
Yeah.
TPC co-chairs will only be really busy in June, right? Chasing down 1,000 missing reviews.
Program and all the
The
things.
program stuff will happen in July, right, which is not all you'll have lots of time. Lots of
So
time.
much time.
Yeah.
You will not know what to do with
You will have
all that
4
time.
weeks during the conference.
Okay, but remember, there's one thing we have to keep in mind, whatever we decide to do for the hackathon, poor Vincent will be under pressure to replicate it the next year. So, it rolls on.
Not
Not your
entirely convinced that this is our immediate problem, because we need to make it work the first time.
You need to make it attractive, but
And
then
then
you
you'll
typically
less
take part in not
maybe
taking part.
change, so.
But I think
Yeah.
Finally.
some kind of reconstruction, data documentation, make it very flexible.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can post some health related topics like recipe,
Recipe generation.
sanity checking. I don't know. If you can evaluate, if you have ways to evaluate, public mental health, can you apply them and give people sanity ratings and see whether there's a decline over the days of the workshop. No, but whatever you want, right?
Anything left to decline.
Yeah.
What's also interesting is all these, if you look at what people do with this tracking of elderly homes, I was mentioning, are people, for example, classic question, did they fall? Okay, that's not happening here, hopefully, so far nobody fell, I think. but the thing
Cal said it's a dry house, that's why nobody fell so
Or
far.
they're just gonna screw more banana peels and stuff. So it's,
But another one, for example, that they were catching, and there were commercial products also like on it. Are people hydrating enough? Did they take enough of this? Did they take enough of that?
Yeah.
And so on and
This
so
is like what's going to be really useful for elderly people independent living.
on. Now we are
Where
hitting all
they
these
won't wear
objects
this,
somehow.
they may have those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So the data sets are really useful for that. So
Yeah.
that kind of a challenge is nice.
Totally. But maybe we get in touch with the
I have a
case and,
company
people.
that does that as well, not I have.
Um,
We work with a company that does
Yeah,
that. But they'd be really interested in sponsoring something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do this with
Case.
proxy tasks. I mean, this is the drug I'm supposed to take to keep me alive. So did I get my level of
your vital dose of
Yeah,
caffeine.
exactly.
But it all ties in with the recipe generation. What did you put in the meals? The amount of consumption that a different person is doing.
Yeah,
we call that as a two
Yeah, this yeah,
Continuous
the
tasks
variety of nutrition.
Interactive
It's such a nice data set.
Allergy warnings.
Yeah.
Ad hoc.
We have to at least get 2 years out of this data set before we make a new one.
I think that's good.
Bigger and longer,
Yeah.
with bigger SD cards.
with bigger, more everything. I think this is something that is on the agenda for later in the week
This was
to see what if we had infinite time and infinite money.
But this was done on a massive budget. That's why we're at the end of the world. If we had done this in Wicklow beside Dublin, short drive, access to more facilities close by, it would have been double the price. We had a rough envelope of 10,000.
I mean, these
We
things
have
are
those already, right?
these things are nice.
Mhm.
They're not. If we had designed this from scratch, this would look different, right? But
Then I would have had to have 20,000 you sort of had to put together something.
Yeah.
We have to have these.
no, if we had designed this from scratch, sure, talking quite a bit. But yeah.
We can always ask.
We could get this police body cams and
Actually, we thought
It would
about
be
we thought about
worse.
strapping these on here, right? We thought
This
about
was
this.
this was the
We
first
didn't do it.
this was the first idea we had to say, oh,
In
just
fact,
do-
you
do
still like
the-
that idea.
do the harness. do the
Yeah.
harness. The problem with the harness, if I have the camera here, and I do this, right?
Yeah.
I can already move my eyes, and you will have no idea where I'm looking at. But at
Yeah,
least
but
if
you're
I
gonna-
if
We'll
I-
mount
if
the
I-
eyeball next
if
to
I move my head, at least you see what I'm looking at.
If somebody builds
If-
a
I will
tracking
mount it.
camera,
The
it will
cameras.
know exactly where the camera is located.
I mean, honestly, they're like fairly compact sensors for eye tracking.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
not like the one we have in the other room.
No, but there's things that could be done
If Luca has a lot of time to
if it's
build
if
it,
it's
this is the
if it's
problem.
feasible. I'm not an electrical engineer, so this is there's
Like-
probably if
Everybody
you
gets to
actually
use the
need to do this.
electrical engineer.
Glasses
There are a
frames,
few others,
two cameras,
think
eye
electrical.
tracking on the front.
Right.
It can all be done.
It can be done, yeah.
But I'm
To
electrical.
be fair, even in this like version, as long as there are two people sort of facing each other, there
Yeah,
should be a way
this
to
is
start
this is definitely also some data augmentation thing I would want to do,
Yeah.
right? If I look at you, can I reconstruct based on your feed where your point of attention was at any point in time?
Exactly.
Given
Yes.
your given
Yeah.
that
And
I
that can
see
be
you-
such a
yes.
cool
Yeah.
task.
Yeah.
Actually, estimation from another person's another point of view.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would be really like-
I think your camera is also a little bit high.
Is it?
Can we
So,
reconstruct everything in
can
the,
we just like do one thing, because
Yeah.
Klaus now asked me what did we finally conclude, so actually also
No,
it's
for a
interesting.
challenge, for a
For
challenge.
a-
Finally
so
conclude.
just like for the catch, and also for basically maybe it becomes a task. Can we now summarize? This is what we think now. Grand challenge is roughly going to be just as a summary. If somebody can kind of repeat this grand
Okay.
challenge, this is going to be hackathon.
better.
Bit high.
Still,
For- for-
the screen's not on, so I can't.
So guys,
Yeah.
summary coming.
Some
Everybody look at Luca.
Yeah. Yes.
No, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that for the actual challenge, we can have several subtasks that, so I mean, first to Drax, the interactive thing, that stuff is happening there on site, and the more traditional, you send us results, we're going to tell you how well you did. Non-interactive stuff. For the former, it will probably have to be reasonably similar to interactive challenge before we can do it. So have some instance retrieval and have some question answering with the human in the loop.
And we would like to attract VPS teams and LSC teams,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And we will do judging maybe with a few people from here.
Yes, so
Yes.
from
We're
a
the
setup point of view, from an infrastructure point of view, also how the tasks are designed, how the tasks are presented, it would be the exact same thing
Yeah.
as VBS and
So
LSC.
then it could later go to the VPS and LSC, but for the first
Yes,
time
we
we
might
might
even
push get AC multimedia.
push this
Yeah.
into one of those
Yeah.
possibly. Which makes the communication to the people reasonably easy. I mean, what we might want to do anyway is just write a brief. If you have never heard of VPS and LSC, this is how it works, kind of document. which we're missing anything. So
Yeah.
onboarding for new
Yeah.
teams is hard because you essentially have to chronologically read a decade of publications to see how the stuff actually works. But that would be the interactive part. And then there's a bunch of logistics we need to figure out, but this is essentially just work. So this is not difficult.
And for non-interactive, we could do almost the same tasks, but asynchronously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Plus more stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So some of the things that we've said that we can actually evaluate that are different type of tasks, as in reconstruct this view from this point. So I actually took the picture, but I'm not showing you the picture.
Also, point of
the-
view, region of interest / salient objects, eye gaze
That might be-
from another person's
That
point
might
of
be
view.
difficult to evaluate because we don't have the
Yeah.
budget. So this is more of a hackathon kind of thing.
Yeah. Or
Because there we
the
can
pairing
look,
it
there
for
we can
future
look
years,
at it
yeah.
and see if it is reasonable, but if two teams submit something similar, we don't have a precise metric to see how good is this. Because otherwise somebody would actually need to have the eye track. Right? So this would be so that definitely the question answering instance retrieval stuff in both tracks.
Yeah.
And the non-interactive would have additional tracks for reconstruction things that you could not reasonably do interactively. That also would not necessarily need human input because it's more of an algorithmic.
Like recipes or something that we could.
Yes,
Fine.
regenerate this
Yeah,
recipe.
yeah.
Regenerate this schedule for this person.
Right,
Count the number of this person did this type or on this date this kind of action was performed.
Right.
This sort of thing. This is still sort of kind of question answering. I would really want to do the visual reconstruction thing for the also so the computer vision people also have an interesting task. Things like that. Right?
So just thinking about the reconstruction, maybe something we should do while we're here is taking measurements of all the routes as it went through.
Yes. Do we have
Measuring
a-
tape.
Is there a blueprint of those?
Well, I doubt I'll give us.
I mean-
I might get the measuring tape on Friday morning.
Well,
Kahal, that must be, if they were selling it, there must be a floor plan. In the Netherlands,
Yes,
at
I'm
least
just
you will
thinking
find
what
floor
happens
plans.
when I
I'm sure
contact
they
them
have
and say,
furniture also.
thank you for the week in your home, it was wonderful. Have you got the floor plans and the measurements? Already I'm thinking, oh, it's day taking me out there with all their beautiful furniture in it. If I ask for any more, I'm a little bit hesitant to ask for that. I'd rather we just take our measurements.
To be fair, I
They-
think most
we-
modern smartphones can't do reasonably accurate
Yes.
measurements,
Yeah.
so we can probably just do it ourselves without.
There is a hardware store in the supermarket, so we will have that.
We could get a automatic vacuum cleaner to generate floor plan.
I mean, you presumably, as long as we have a reference object that we know the precise dimensions
True,
of,
yeah.
everything else
Yeah,
could technically be reconstructed based on.
That's dartboard.
Yeah.
I was more thinking about something that is properly
Yeah,
like
stable and, yeah.
like has a pattern on it that you can actually calibrate the camera and
Kahal, you will need to walk through the house with this milk carton and stuff.
things like that. But I mean, or just you can do essentially volumetric reconstruction just based on all these images.
Yeah, no, it's just about like if you want to make it useful, data set.
Yes,
The more stuff you have, the better. Okay, so do you have a plan for thinking about this, and tomorrow we kind of finalize what that looks like?
Yeah. And I guess for the hackathon we discussed a bunch of things that would be interesting, so it might be good. I don't have the agenda we came up with on the top of my head.
I'm just trying to find a list of tasks.
But
where everybody gets them.
it might
It's on
be
the
good
fridge, Kahal.
if everybody also thinks about.
You have the summary of Thursday? Something?
What do you mean?
Like video or something?
Yeah, I have some metadata
The big thing
of the
on
Yeah,
video,
this is different, this is different. Should
I'll come to some of the results from yesterday.
Okay, I'll take it.
we have a viewing of some of the data from yesterday?
Viewing on the day is
Viewing probably not.
Of the funniest thing that happened yesterday.
I don't have that technology.
Okay, before we get up, I want to draw the list of tasks that everybody should be kind of doing over the course of this time.
Right.
So we have cooking, we know it already. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody's cooking something. Everybody's cleaning after cooking. Right? Everybody should be doing the reading experiment. One along will chase you down.
Again, chase.
Let's not all do the reading experiments on Friday afternoon. Right?
Go on.
It's not the most fun.
Try to get as many people as you can today.
20 minutes. Okay.
Yes.
Everybody's reading, you said.
Read a book. Right?
Allowed?
If it's
I was doing reading aloud.
Yeah, but it should be the guideline. Do you want others to read aloud?
I'm just thinking, what's the benefit of reading it? Read aloud.
Oh,
Wait, why not? It's extra data, right?
Get some audience.
Very weird, read out loud.
I was doing
Imagine you have a kid there.
But then it would Vietnamese.
yeah, no, because the thing is,
We've already done the Christmas tree. Everybody should at least try to make noise on the guitar. Right?
Alright.
Noise on guitar. I won't call it music.
Do we have a printer now? No, okay. I need some cord. Bring up some cord.
We're getting the third laptop.
yes,
But I
I
can
will
pull
set
up.
up that device
One of
later.
the helpers can do it, right? Just need to.
No, we can do, this is the task, we can do that, I will set this machine up later today.
Okay, so this is
With
reading
chords.
music.
That's
We
all.
will?
With cords, guitar cords.
With Ubuntu, and then you can do whatever you want.
Install
It directly boots into some MIDI thing. That's-
Yeah.
Not everybody can do laundry, so I'm doing laundry outside. Very good.
Yes. Install some musical qualifications.
Fine.
Okay, so games. And games will be multiple. We have wooden block game.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me, wooden block tower game.
Wooden block.
Well, it depends if it's tower game or
That's
just.
blocks.
So there's a tower in there right now. It's very impressive that it's still standing.
Yes,
Um,
but the question is, how many blocks can you pull down of that tower before it collapses?
It looks like one.
Yeah, exactly. No, it looks like zero, right? Before it collapses.
You might be able to
The
take
top.
the topmost
Yes, maybe.
card game, but
Yeah. But aside that,
yeah.
Buckaroo.
what?
Yes.
Buckaroo game.
Buckaroo, what's a buckaroo game?
It's in there. It's
Yes,
the one where you
connect
put the things on the
put it
corner
on
of
the
the
screen.
it shows
Oh.
up. Poker. Proper poker.
What is proper
Proper
poker?
poker.
Double
Double the rules.
And chess.
That's gone so
We'll get everybody.
people or?
Everything's in on the same area. Chess. Connect 4.
I didn't play chess since elementary school.
You
Is it
should
gonna be
have-
funny if
The
I
rules
play
are
it
still
now?
the same.
Darts.
Yes,
Same for me.
Chess or
I'm not joking.
Finally, you were the opponent, somebody who plays at my level.
What's the
That's gonna be
equivalent of chess
hilarious.
that you have in-
drafts. You take a Connect 4.
Inventing
pieces and you
rules.
play drafts.
Googling rules.
It's an easier game. than
That
chess.
machine is.
People will be feeling
Yeah,
less
exactly.
stressed. Okay, drawing.
I think it's similar.
We need your chess program.
It's
Drawing
similar to
pictures of chess.
similar to
I mean, we can
Paper
make
planes.
it with
Writing.
Connect
Yeah.
4.
Drawers, but when you don't have pencils, you
It's
don't
unfair
have.
advantage. Whoever first opens a web page with some
Oh, yeah,
basic
yeah,
tactics
that's
is
why I
probably
have to
gonna be the
do
best.
that.
Why?
She painted a picture with enamel paint she used for
Yes,
the.
but it's much nicer because the others are
What was the
crude.
other thing we said?
Origami.
Origami. Paper plane.
I would
I
want
did
some
it
colors.
today. I was so
Yes,
bad
you-
yesterday. I couldn't add up
You have
numbers.
a
actually.
complicated
Yeah, yeah.
darts, you will not be able to achieve
The
this
long
game.
Long game, darts,
No,
long
no, no,
game.
no, you sort out at the end of the day, you remember?
Is that it?
Quizzes?
Thesis?
Quizzes.
Quizzes.
I have somebody handing up a thesis this week if you want to read it. You're very welcome.
That's
That's
The
the
reading task.
Reading task. Somebody please read News PhD. The happy quiz. Anything else? I think that's enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 20.
Teach somebody a card game.
Teach.
Well,
Teach.
Uno.
I wanna poker, because I also don't play that one since.
But don't learn from her. She will take all your money while you're learning.
Dublin rules.
I wanna learn.
Okay,
poker.
but
What is
definitely
that?
if you have a thing
I
that
will
you
show
can
you.
teach other
Okay.
people, that would be
It's
very
much
interesting.
less
Yeah.
complicated.
So I call
Maybe
it
it's
Klaus
less
on the card game.
How much
What
less
about
is
you?
it?
If you get all your cards,
Yeah.
you're allowed to change one, you go. So,
Okay.
5 cards. Oh, yeah, I want to go to this one. Take another card. Here, show your cards.
Until you have it all.
That's not poker.
It's poker, it's proper.
No.
It's a version of poker, yes.
Okay, and how many rounds of betting are there?
What's the rule? What's the
You
rule?
just keep going until you finish.
So,
No.
do you know
But,
the
like,
normal rule?
Yes, you
of
still
poker?
bet with chips, right?
Yes.
I used to know it.
But like,
I don't know.
so you
I
get
will
your
raise
cards.
you 50.
Haven't played it.
Yeah,
in-
no,
And you match me.
Just-
So
Just
you
you
try
raise
to
me,
get
however
some
many
patterns.
raises. Okay,
Eventually
you'll
you'll
know.
You try to get some patterns.
But it should be
out of
around before you
5
switch your
cards.
Oh
card.
yeah,
Exactly.
Switch your card.
pairs,
Yes.
Yeah,
three
yeah.
rings,
Before
But
you
his
switch.
version is that you get 5 cards at once.
But the
Their
other
version
one,
is
but
that
then
you
before you
have
switch
2
cards,
cards
and
on
then
your
after.
own and
No, we normally do after.
you
We
have
do it before- we do it- we do
5
both.
cards
It
on
will
the
be
table.
more interesting to do it
Yeah.
before.
I think I was playing that one.
Okay.
That's proper poker.
But the thing is that the sets,
Look,
the sets
we
that
play
you
proper
bought.
poker. You play
Just
some
no.
Texas poker
Texas
too.
poker.
No, but the thing is that the sets,
I can play that now.
on the sets, there was slots for the cards, so
Okay.
they were playing according to
We
the
play
sets.
snap.
Snap.
What is snap? Whoever gets a matching card. Snap.
Ah, yes.
It's actually good fun.
Hey, so
If you're 12.
that double poker.
We'll do double poker.
Yeah.
All along, you're in.
Sure.
Double rules.
Sure.
Very good. So
Okay, so
basically,
we
it's
change
one of
poker,
you get cards,
proper
you
poker
can
is only in the
get new
Proper
we play proper poker.
Yes.
But that means your credit card is out.
What?
Your credit card goes on the
I
table.
don't have it, eh? The wallets and
Yeah, that's
everything.
proper
I got
poker.
it on the
That's
fridge,
proper.
right? The only thing, not everybody can actually do laundry, but everybody can do cleaning.
Sleeping cows.
Everybody is expected to clean up after 2 meals, right? Over the course.
Okay,
That's reasonable.
I can do cleaning now. I didn't do
You
cleaning.
cooking? No, you
Yeah,
cook.
you're
No,
cooking.
you're
Yeah,
the
you go
chef.
to clean.
You're the
sink,
breakfast chef every
side.
day apparently now, so.
Self-appointed, plus helping with lunches.
So who was
Did
lunch?
you get the rolling pin when you were shopping?
We didn't, but we got a very tightly wound aluminium foil.
I was kind of afraid that you would say that, but okay.
Yeah, it was the cheapest one, so it was really, really small. It's perfect.
Yeah,
We can make- we
Yeah,
can make that
yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that.
We, that was a decision taken.
Well, he.
That's the wrong decision taken.
A decision taken by people.
The other option was we went to Galway, we're still on the way back now.
So I'm self.
There was no rolling pin?
Ordering from Amazon to
because cheese is going on.
Yeah, there was no
Right,
rolling pin.
there's no rolling pin.
There was no rolling pin.
No rolling pin. You wanna try? No. We didn't have the cameras on, so nobody could prove
Yeah.
it.
There was no rolling pin.
So lunch is
Chicken hot.
chicken hot. It's gonna, I'm talking with you, right?
No.
This one there is label.
Just me, Lynn, and Bao.
Close, I don't think that was very.
How long will
Yeah,
it
but
take?
the thing is that they are not wearing hats on, so
An
I
hour.
have to do it for them.
Or somebody else can do it. They can instruct you.
Maybe a bit more because
It would actually
many
be
people
much
are
more
quite
interesting
fast.
if it's somebody who has no idea what they're doing.
Right.
And you just have to give instructions.
Oh, if you're willing to have a really bad one.
You can do it, right?
If you're willing to have, we have plenty of food, right?
This is gonna make good
Ah, that's okay.
What's the worst that can happen?
I'm not
What?
famous.
This one is?
Now,
Yeah.
on camera.
Because the query's gonna be out in 4 seconds out.
This one smells.
Yeah, but, can I do it after lunch?
Yeah, we should shut
No,
her.
not now.
Bookers.
No, but you find some volunteers wearing cameras who have no idea. Never seen the recipe. And then that's much more
The
interesting.
important thing is that even the person who suggested the recipe doesn't know what he's doing.
Let's eat the orange.
I needed to get more stuff this morning.
Yeah,
It's
that's
still
right.
running.
So,
But you made it before?
No.
No,
So
okay.
nobody made it before because we actually
It's
don't know what we're
okay,
doing.
it's fine, let's cook the ham as well.
Oh yeah, what's the ham for?
Sandwiches.
Okay, you can do that as a backup.
Okay, great job. Okay, so who are the two people who are doing the cleaning?
I can do it.
Lovely, you're two people. I'll go back to the laundry.
Changes to the fridge.
Because laundry is also about cameras, right?
Laundry is in cameras.
It's in
Outside camera.
I think it's outside camera.
Oh, well,
So
outside.
I'm gonna be the second camera observing.
Why do I put this?
How?
This is clean.
Yes.
So we are.
The right one.
What you do?
You have to figure out how to
This
do
one
it.
is maybe done already. So we need to.
This is the cup of egg standing here.
I'm not sure if someone needs it for baking still.
Ah, very good. This is the leftover egg yolk.
Maybe we should put it in a
Pinch down.
Yeah.
It was
And a bit of-
I'm not sure if it's.
Because
No,
this
this is
No, but I mean, it was out.
Yeah.
This was out.
That's why I took the
I mean,
Put it in the fridge.
It will be.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Is it gonna be processed later?
It will be
Same for the exact same dish. Should I put it in the fridge?
yes, it should be
Yeah,
put in the fridge, yes.
No, but I mean, is it okay now?
Yes.
Yes, of course, of course.
Because this kind
I mean, it's egg yolk.
Okay, ingredients.
Don't worry.
So,
It's all good.
you have the white shirt now.
I'm gonna, yes, I'll go and bring that white shirts.
Help me with the cups and I'll put them in.
Oh my god. Some fake milk.
Fake milk. Oh. Very, very not milk.
Any more? No. Just glasses. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is very little space in here.
Cultural reference, you know. In Amsterdam, when the rest of the country jokes about Amsterdam, put it there. So when the rest of the country jokes with Amsterdam, they always joking, oh, these old cappuccino folks.
We forgot to put the milk rice on the table.
Oops. So this one goes to fridge, or it can stay on
Is
countertop.
this clean or dirty? What's currently?
We need some orange.
Clean, you just simply. Okay.
Florian, as
Fridge?
international expert, fridge or countertop?
Fridge.
Fridge.
Definitely fridge.
This is gonna be fun.
And then we're done.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, you can almost start with.
This is
not
interesting. Ah, nice man. There's even some space left. These ones, I think I should put them.
I guess they are meant to be a subject.
Yeah, no, but want to move them because we need.
Yeah, you
this,
can check if you're spacing there.
I think that should be.
Now you can already start putting on.
Yeah. This is my world famous package. What are you doing?
Solitaire of a kind.
Oh, I think we have one. We have one block totally.
Okay, yeah. Just make sure, or put it in here because there's already some stuff. Because otherwise, I think we don't know where we put stuff.
Not here.
Check if
Not here. I don't think I put it there. So,
Oh yeah, we have.
man, this is spacing cut very properly. I think maybe that's why we are tired. No, seriously. Our head is super compressed from yesterday.
Yesterday, even when I sleep, I still feel it.
Yeah, I felt it. Yeah. I went to sleep and I really felt, oh, did I have camera still on? So, folks, I think this is good, eh?
You want to play the Vietnamese card game?
Yes, I want to do this.
It's a bit complicated, but it's very
Okay.
So what do we do with this?
Alright, tell me.
Do we wash them,
so
throw
we-
them?
Does anybody want white clothes washed?
Huh?
So I put the shirt on the,
Okay,
Who are you?
but towels are not ready.
Towels.
It's spinning now, I think.
What do we do with this?
they're for cooking, roasting.
Okay.
The main means don't have to clean every time.
I don't remember which
Okay.
one.
Okay.
What you start with? Firm 13 pound.
Okay.
They're okay, maybe a bit of.
Well, I don't know.
We're not missing any.
What's the new test?
Not risky. Somebody get in a bug in
13 pound.
you know what I mean. Cacao. There.
It's not supposed to go that far.
So we go by turn.
Well, okay.
Yeah, so, and the rule is similar to extra.
Okay.
So you can go for one car.
So these
Okay.
ones we can cover with the
If I go for this number three, you have to go higher.
thing.
Okay.
Or at least equal. So if we
Same,
have,
same suit or different suit?
doesn't matter. But if we have the order, so this the heart is higher,
Okay.
and then come to the diamond.
Okay.
This.
Anything broken?
Let's say that we have on three.
Okay.
This number three
No,
will not
not
be
yet.
higher.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome.
Very
Very
nice.
nice.
Working harder than
Right.
that.
Florian, don't
Or the
hurry.
salmon you have to be.
Don't
Okay.
hurry.
So this is the order.
Well, we need to get some collective.
Clubs.
Last chance for a white wash.
Spade is lowest.
Face good,
White on
black,
white.
and
White
Okay.
only, all
yeah,
this.
so that's the
Diamonds.
order.
Hearts.
Yes. So
Okay.
or you can go by a pair,
Okay.
or you can go continuously, do a
Okay.
spread
Okay.
from three. Like let's say for example like
Get the cheese out there.
Yeah.
5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
Or
I
5,
think
6,
we have
7,
some
8.
croissants
Right.
for.
If I go here, you must go exactly 4 cards.
Yeah, that one.
And
Hopefully,
look at higher.
Yeah.
So you do this and then I have to do 4.
Yeah,
Yes,
for
or
you.
you say us, you skip.
You mentioned
Okay.
that you like
Yes,
snacking
yeah.
in between.
Okay.
Well, I like it, but I
I
shouldn't.
could go
I mean,
4 cards and keep any
one
cards as
that's
long as I
still
follow
gonna
the
Many of us
rule
are-
of higher.
Yes, the higher.
I think I've already gained like
So
a
I
kilo.
can go like
Maybe Werner can
Nine.
also afford, but we can
And-
close them.
No, it doesn't look like it.
10.
No, in this case, I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay.
It should be Jack and then Queen.
Okay, but can I stack in a different? Can I do it have to be higher than yours?
Yes, you must be higher than you
Okay.
You must skip.
Alright, and that means I
You can
can.
do everything on,
Yeah,
yeah.
I skip. No, so let's see. Okay. Count us down so we can like see the
These are
question
the croissants.
while you're playing. When you come out.
Yeah, you don't have anything higher.
What else can I
Okay.
help?
Well, not enough, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So that is symbol thing.
So what happens now? Did you win or?
No,
or-
the guy who played the car is with that one.
Okay.
So that's the difference between my 13 car and one.
Okay. Okay. So it now means you just played 4 cards
Very sturdy.
Yeah.
and you got rid of them, and so
then
now you have the advantage, right?
Yeah, you can say you skip and then it can go next maybe like this.
Okay. And now I have to do.
You have 5 there. Bigger than mine.
Okay.
Yes.
For example, this one.
And then I can go for, let's say this.
You did the 27 program?
Now I can do this.
And then I have this one which is a skipper.
So because you have no sequence or.
Yeah.
Oh, because it's.
You hide it. I don't have it here.
Okay.
The short one did not work.
Oh, okay. But then okay, so now it's my turn
You
to
can choose whatever you want.
choose
You
whatever
want
I want. So for example, I could. Can I do a longer sequence?
Yes, as long as you want.
So I can do 7, 8, 9, something like this.
Yeah, and then I skip it.
Okay.
Yes. And then you go for this.
And then go for pair, and then I can do a sequence. Ah, okay.
Wait,
But yes,
that's a
yes.
single.
No, yeah.
The biggest price wheel is number 2.
The biggest one is number 2. Okay.
The smallest one is number 3.
Ah, okay.
Collaborative cooking.
You cannot mix, let's say, you can go.
There's another fridge over there.
The meat fridge.
The meat fridge, yeah.
So you can go like this.
chicken breasts.
Okay, yeah.
Because this ingredient.
Only
Yes, you
6.
cannot put the truth here.
Well, it'll never. No,
Uh-huh.
Only nothing belongs to
so
any
much.
sequence.
Okay.
You cannot put two.
So 2 has to be as a
We'll
pair
be eating
or?
that lunch
Can
from.
be a pair, can be 3 of them, can be 1.
Right.
You cannot
That's all
do
we
it in
have.
this.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And so if I put down 2, you can put down 2.
No, then I lost because this is the biggest.
Ah, okay.
This is the biggest part, so we can
I
find
am
the big.
quite certain.
I kind of know this game.
Yes.
Flip, something like that.
I don't know the English name. We can 13, we can 2 or something.
Okay.
We need to put it because right? Ah, and that's the biggest.
Yes.
Ah.
And then, so this is cannot combine any
Okay.
along.
Okay.
And then we move to the more complicated things. So we have,
Six bags of
so you can go only for 1 pair.
So, did you buy another freeze-dried coffee?
Yeah.
You don't have like,
Yeah, but I thought.
No,
Was there already one and then
Okay.
I got
but if you
Yeah.
have 3 days in a row.
Hey guys,
it was in the fridge.
So let's say
whoever
you
is
have it.
cooking, we have 2 packages of chicken that have to go today.
Oh, that's the chicken breast, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
8,
Yeah.
9,
There's 2
10.
packets.
Okay.
Let's say,
And the rest is,
Interestingly, the one
and then
you
you-
bought
this is different.
on Monday last
and
up
3
to
days in a
Friday.
row is bigger.
But the one you bought today
Uh-huh.
last on
Oh, I
Monday.
can do that too.
That's
So
fantastic.
then I can
Okay.
and then you must, in this case, you
I'm sure they're safe
in
then.
number 2, you multiply 3 days in a row.
Yeah, well, once we open them, yeah.
How much? Okay.
Yes.
But I think if they lost them today, they should.
We just
have to check and see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. But they should be
I
reasonable.
normally am not happy to do chicken when it's so close.
No, not easy. Retreat. Not we go
Well,
for the
I
sequence.
mean, it's.
You
If
can see
it
the
gets,
sequence
if
of
it
every
gets
single
properly
part.
cooked and properly heated up,
Then why are
If
these?
you can
Yeah, let's
run
check
again.
them
So
later.
if you had 3
Cahill, don't
continuous
open the
number,
number.
3 pairs, but continuous, like
Right.
8, 9, 10,
Three
not.
pair. Ah,
But,
and you
but
need it.
pairs are bigger than sequence?
No, when you go for 1 car,
Right.
and then 3 pairs in a row can fit.
Okay. Okay. Fair.
Whatever number, even if it's
Yeah.
What we play in Thailand is that we use free of a kind.
no, 3 of a kind is running all 3 of a kind. So let's say if I go for the 3 number 6, you must find 3 and 7, 8, 9, but you cannot find it.
It is a little bit different.
Then there is another thing. I must be in the system to play with you. So let's say if I go for, let's say 3 people,
Yeah.
we play 8, 9,
Yeah.
and then I skip it.
Okay.
I cannot join anymore until I
Right.
finish it. But if you have 4 pairs in a row, you can jump no matter where you want.
4 pairs in a row?
Yeah, let's say 7, 9, 10, and jump.
Okay.
Then you can jump no matter where you
Yeah,
want. And then you can skip it and jump now one.
Okay.
You can do
Ben, wie das passieren konnte, aber die
jump
Schokolade ist
in the
ja
middle
ganz
of
oben.
nowhere.
Okay.
Richtig nicht reingebacken.
Yeah. Or can also bid when we go to that. So for the pie can bid any number 2.
Okay.
You cannot bid a pair of 2.
Right.
Who's cooking the chicken
The
thighs?
battery is very high.
Okay.
Well, 4 way in a row can beat most
If you
of
get rid of the
them.
chicken that's out of date,
So can we
and
eat
use the
that?
thighs and the
Only one.
in-date breasts instead.
Ah, so what can I eat?
Yes.
Only
Only
for
maybe
ways
that
we
we
roll.
need some of that chicken hot.
Ah, I see.
So
it's
chicken hot
different.
pot. Then you get the
And
chicken into
mainly
it.
that is
Your
the most complicated things done.
Okay.
But then we play into the point. So we come every single game we keep playing.
Right, yeah, sure.
Because the point is complicated.
Right.
So this is 1 point. If you
Right.
lost one, you lost 1 point.
Right.
If you win the game, you don't remember. 2 or 3 points depends on
Your
how you
was
decide.
the reason why your
You lost one.
today.
No backstories, huh?
Okay.
You lose 1 point. You
We
lost
have a
one.
question.
Red, 2.